Hi, everybody. Welcome to Taiwan Talk. I'm Alex Lewis. This week, I talked to Jane Shih, who is an entrepreneur, the city director of Ladies That UX here in Taipei, and the person responsible for bringing Talk UX to Asia for the first time. Here's a conversation. Can you tell us or our listeners a little bit about yourself, why you're here, and what you're going to talk about today?
So I'm Jane Shih. I'm the city director of Lady UX Taipei. I also am a startup founder. My company is called WeTogether.co. We do a lot of things for Meetup and LinkedIn type of thing for connecting the technology professionals worldwide. Ever since we started to do, the meetup for technology professionals, especially, Taiwan has a lot of tech talent. We found that women in technology is where we can really emphasize the efforts and also start to really generate the energy for the communities here. So I started to host events, especially for different type of tech talent. One of them, the bottom line or, the software or internet industry, usually we have three types of talent. One is like programmers, coders. One is project or product managers. And then the third one is designers. So started to do the offline events. We started to, have people from different places that have different career paths and for them to share their experience with us. Especially when I started to have my career in the Silicon Valley, I worked for eBay for 6 years. And we started to have our women technology group at eBay. So we actually started to focus on how we can grow the women technology inside of the company. And I was very lucky. I was one of the 3 female managers out of our 600 people work under technology operations at eBay. After I moved back to Taiwan at 2013, I started to observe how our technology talent, is growing in terms of their career path, in terms of their opportunities. And a lot of people feel like there's lack of opportunities to work with international professionals because there are less of them here. So I started to feel like, we should have a lot of different events with different people, coming from different backgrounds to share their career path. And then especially when I also have friends, connections in Silicon Valley, I started to invite them to have online meetups, or even if they can come back to Taiwan, they can really share their experience with us. After we host events for 6 months, I found that there are actually a lot of nonprofits focusing on women in technology globally. So I started to, reach out to different nonprofits, for girls in tech, women who code, and then Lady.UX, which, is composed of the 3 talents that I told you just right before. So
what are the 3 talents again?
So it would be the coders, which, women who code really wanted to create or essentially grow more female engineers in technology career. And then for growth in tech, we focus on growing the product or project managers, and especially we hope we can empower more technologists to become technology entrepreneurs in that community. And then for Lady.UX, which, people work in the user experience field, designers, gather together once a month. And, it's a female community, very welcoming. And then we host events once a month. And so people can come and chat about their experiences. And at the same time, do a lot of networking, with each other. We have, now over 1,700 members.
1,700?
Yeah, 1,700 members.
Just in Taipei or in Taiwan?
Yeah, we host events mostly in Sintran, in Taipei.
So you have a community of people who already work in UX, I guess, and to help them develop role models that work in UX. Is there any outreach to schools or youth, like female youth, to help them empower them so they can look at this industry and say, like, this is an industry that I can get into because of these role models and because of these initiatives that are out there for me? Is things like that going on?
Yeah, for design community, we are only capable of doing once a month, meetup. This is something that we have to do. But for last year, I remember in June, people will be graduating, from the college, and we actually generate events for it's called like Women in Technology on campus. So we invited 3 type of different talents to be able to share their experience inside of different campuses. So that's more like a panel discussions. One one role model would be from the the coder community. One would be the project managers or program managers, and then one is UX designers. Yeah, so we did a few events to do the women technology on campus, and we will continue to do that for this year. But we don't really do like a vast events or big initiatives only focusing on the campus. Our focus or our current members, the age range is around 25 to 40, so they are more like already in the industry, just from different companies, and then they are not specifically only working in tech positions or tech companies, but they wanted to go into user experience field.
So you're going to bring a Talk UX conference here. It's the first time it's been in Asia, right?
Yeah, it's the first time for us, and we never really had the international experience that we would be able to invite a lot of people from different big companies, especially, for example, the Google X, the Facebook, and then Uber, and then other companies, IBM Design. They all will come, to Taipei in October. So I was, super happy, and we were able to really generate this kind of interest, and also be able to bring all the global networks leaders of them to be here. Yeah.
So can you tell me about what it took to put the conference together here in Taipei? Like, what kind of work did you have to do to pull that off?
So it's very interesting because, as you know, my experience was like working for tech companies and then start my own companies. I never really had an experience of generating a big international conference myself. And nor, the same with my volunteers team. So, we have a lot of passion. But we have no experience of how we can do this together. So in the beginning, we had a few meetings with George Buckley. She, co-founder of Lady UX, and she passed over a big folders of past experience, like how they invite speakers, how they, generate interest from the sponsors, and even, they give us all the access regarding like financial support and everything. But they don't really have money for us to create events.
So they gave you basically the game plan, the blueprint.
Right.
So for you to go out, raise the funds and everything.
So, and then we had a lot of discussions regarding how we can, get the funding support. And then she is very open and also very, very supportive on we should set up the headquarters essentially, or the bank accounts, represented by Lady UX rather than the Lady UX Taipei as a branch. Yeah, so essentially in the future, if we are able to, generate events for Asia Network, we should be able to, because we currently have set up an association in Taiwan as a formal legal entity called Lady UX in Taiwan. So we are able to get sponsorship from local companies. Plus, in the future, if we are able to generate events for other networks in Asia, we can help them too.
So speaking of other networks in Asia, I noticed that there are a lot more cities in the West, in the United States or in Europe, that have Ladies at UX presence there. Mm-hmm. Is there a push to bring more of a presence or just more cities involved in Asia?
Yeah, so it's really volunteering. So essentially, as long as you're interested in being a volunteer, bring a network or set up a network for a local city in any cities in the world, you can apply for it. Yeah. So for Lady UX, headquarters, they are always open, for people who are interested to host events for of course, Lady UX meetups. They are definitely open for expanding and everything, being supportive on that. Yeah.
So you worked both here, of course, and also in the United States. Mm-hmm. What do you think the biggest difference is in work culture in regards to women in the workforce?
So I think the biggest difference would be the openness. So essentially, I think a lot of people, especially like women working, not really just working women, essentially, feel like there's limits when they have to make choices in their different stage of life. So, for example, a lot of people ask me if they need to quit job when they get married, or when they have the first kid. Do they get a promotion? Do they apply for being the manager of the team, or they stay at their original position and really be able to take care of family and then balance the life and everything. So I think that's the struggle, and not, there's really no culture difference essentially, but I feel like, in Taiwan, we have more limits for women to make choices, because there is a culture aspect of women should take care of the family. I think family like if there's any choices between, they have to choose family first. And that's one thing that would hinder themselves, essentially, of, in my view. For example, when I worked at eBay, I had my kid, born, and I was able to work from home 2 days a week. And then 4 or 5 months, essentially, after the baby was born. I felt like that was super, super big, help for me to take care of the baby, spend more time with the baby. And also, I cherish my work so much that when I went back to work, I felt like I can be being in the full speed right after a recovery. But that flexibility, even though the legal system here in Taiwan also encourage people to take time off and, maternity leave or parental leave and everything. But, culture-wise, people are afraid of, asking leave, even just to take care of the kids, just to have like 1 week vacation or something. Yeah, so that's something I feel like if we are able to have more female entrepreneurs to open up companies, especially sustainable, profitable companies with technology, as their like strong support on the back end. We should be able to have, more like healthy environment to help women to get into the workforce and then stay in the workforce for a longer time.
You could pass legislation to try to bring balance or try to, open up the culture, open up the workforce. But it's one thing to pass legislation. It's another to actually, affect change. So do you have any future plans for yourself, your company? Actually, we haven't talked about your company. What's your company name again? We Together?
Yeah, it's called We Together, and it's really a technology platform that wanted to connect technologists. And our focus is currently, of course, generate more events, essentially. And so we host online meetups and offline meetups for people to connect together and share experiences. And then for our next stage, we wanted to launch an Android app that's focusing on job matching for women in technology community, because that's the biggest community we have been growing for over 2 years. And, with the nonprofits arms and also with our online experience, combining, we did a lot of research essentially regarding what's the problems. And if, like, for example, we have a lot of job boards in not only in Taiwan, but, in the international environment, focus on women technology too, job boards there. But, job board is not enough, actually, for women technology to find the right jobs for them. So we found out that it's actually like women emphasize different priorities than other people. So, for example, like I am married, I have a kid, I wanted to have flexibility. So I would be choosing more like part-time work, or if I am able to do more like flexible schedules at work, that would be my first priority, for example. Some people emphasize on, parental leave, or do they have more vacation times, or do they have paid leave, essentially. So I think, those are the structures that we have to build in when we review or when we recommend jobs for women. And second thing is how we screen the people working in the tech. So essentially, for example, beginners, a lot of people in Taiwan emphasizing on, for example, certifications or, degrees, essentially, when they study in the school and everything. But when I work at eBay or in the Silicon Valley, I found out that people emphasize on work experience more than really what degrees or what school you're from. And that's important because they give people chances, to learn on the job and really be able to see their potential and grow their potential together. So that's the thing that we hope, by generating a lot of offline events, by creating a strong community, and people can help each other to grow their careers together. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the general vibe like within the community? What difference has it really made in like an individual person's life being within that community?
So what I really, because we always measure the success of, or the effectiveness, of the community ever since we started to host events, and no matter on the company side or on the nonprofit event side.
How do you measure success?
Right. So for me, a lot of people actually focus on like how many attendees per event. I never felt like that's an important KPI for me. as long as I have speaker, and most of the speakers really are, I never really pay for the speakers to be able to talk.
They're volunteering.
Right, because they are the ones that really wanted to present in terms of they wanted to build up their own professional branding, or they just want to contribute their experience back to the community. So speakers are there. As long as speakers are there, I'm there. Even though there's only one attendee, we start the meetup, and that's actually how we can get them engaged. And what we really measure is, do the members come back? That's one thing. And then we found out 50% of our members come back for the events, not really the next, but maybe the topics they are interested in. And out of those 50, around 30% of them want to become the leaders or become the speakers, become the organizers of different programs. And that's why I was able to, for example, launch different programs. I'm not worried about losing money or worry about no one helping me, because every time we started new initiatives, like no one has done TalkUX before, but I was so happy we get to host this year. And I started to say, hey, let's do TalkUX, and this is the format. They did this twice, already. What should we do? And there are now 40 volunteers. Initially there are over 100 applied, and we screened and we kind of separated into different teams. Now there's 40 of them, in the back end, and then really inviting people and then really make it visible for different places. So that's really something that's empowering the young generations to be able to do something that outside of work and really meaningful for their life too.
Is there anything that we have not covered that you wanted to talk about? So
we definitely wanted to market our TalkUX conference, and we will be doing a lot of professional or promotional events for the TalkUX, but it will be hosted in between October 20 to October 22nd, and our website is talk-ux.com. That's where we can find you can find information about the tickets, and we now are on the early bird sale. But we will be doing a lot of promotional events that could be good price for people to come, and we definitely wanted to have at least 70 people essentially from outside of Taiwan to be able to join the event.
And thus concludes my conversation with Jane Shih. If you want to check out TalkUX, it's going to be here October 20th to the 22nd, and you can check out their website, talk-ux.com. Thanks for listening to this week's Taiwan Talk. I'm Alex Lewis.